All right, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Tuesdays with Dr. T. Let me check if I am live properly. Okay, because I do not have a specific timing. So, of course, a lot of you want to come in, but still the time is wonky, or you did not get enough of invite. You know, like enough time for you to come hop on board. So I'll give you guys a little time to hop on. And let me check here. So today's topic is actually pretty much very highly requested. And although I wanted to do it a little later because, sorry, that's my phone. I'm just checking. All right. Hey, Maria, how are you? Can you hear me properly? Can you please let me know in the comment whether you are hearing me properly or not? Okay. All right. So I think we're all good to go. So I know the timing is not really perfect for everyone, but I'll just do it because, showing up imperfectly is a lot better than just staying back and not showing up because things are not perfect. Okay. So the only time that I can do now is because my daughter is having a nap here and then my son is being taken care of. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, honey. All right, so let's start. You have a super duper picky eater. I get it. You're not the only person struggling. A lot of us, actually, about 90 or 89, like a statistically research based, it was said that 89% of autism parents struggle with autism picky eating. Okay, so you have a picky eater, or are you are having a problem feeder? Do you know the difference? Well, a picky eater is somebody who has taste problems, okay? But often our kids on the spectrum are actually problem feeders, okay? I actually teach this a lot deeper in my program, but for you guys, I have made a nice handbook. I want you guys to download it if you haven't had a chance. So after this live, go download the handbook that I have provided already, and then come back again and then rewatch this. Okay, so you do not absolutely need to have the handbook with you right now if you're watching this live. I see more people coming in. Hello, thank you so much. I can see who's watching with me, so let me know in the comments who you are, what's your problem, specific problem, if you're having a problem feeder or a picky eater. Okay, so let's jump into it without further ado. So I have made like a distinguishing between problem feeder and picky eater, and I have my notes here. So if you see me looking somewhere else, it's actually in my laptop. Okay, so I hope you will just forgive me looking here and there a little bit. Okay, so a problem feeder is somebody who eats less than 20 food. So if your child is super into only nuggets, only chips, or only certain type of cool Doritos, like 3 or 4 food, or below 20 food, then you have a problem feeder. Okay. So a problem feeder drops his favorite food without ever reintroducing them. A problem feeder, sometimes you have a problem feeder. If let's say your child liked nuggets for like a few months and then suddenly stopped eating nuggets or something else. Okay. uh, he or she have a meltdown when presented with new food. Okay, so a problem feeder, when you give him a new food, he'll have a meltdown. A meltdown is not actually a same as tantrum, so we tend to get confused between a meltdown and a tantrum. Okay, so a meltdown is when the child cannot express his or her unease or communicate that he or she is not feeling really comfortable or in control of the situation. Okay, so a problem feeder, I'm sorry, you will hear me a lot of coughing because I am still recovering from my COVID. Okay, so a problem feeder can't tolerate touching or tasting new food. So if you try to give him a new food, he will be like, "Ick, no, heck no." Okay, it's a total no. He or she will refuse an entire food group. Okay, an entire food group, let's say green colored, all green colored food, all yellow colored food, or all or similar, any specific colored type of food, or specific food group. For example, all veggies. Your kid cannot tolerate any veggies at all, or any fruit at all, which is really scary, of course. So, and also he or she refuses to eat one or more food textures. Okay, so let's say your kid only takes crunchy food. Okay, so, or only takes mushy food, or cannot stand mushy food, or anything that is soft or watery or juicy in nature. Okay, then you have a problem feeder, not a picky eater. I think most of you guys have problem feeder, not really picky eater, but we think that our kids just, are problem eaters. So a problem feeder will typically won't eat with the family, and they will prefer to eat alone. Okay, and requires more than 25 exposure to be able to accept a new food. So if you're trying it for 3, 4, 5 times and then giving up, you have to try a little bit more. Okay. All right. So a picky eater eats at least 30 food. A problem feeder eats less than 20 food, and a picky eater eats at least 30 food. So if your child is eating 30 food, I think it's good enough. Okay. All right. So drops favorite food, but reintroduces them after a short break. So if your child drops a food and then you are able to reintroduce that after a certain period of time, then it's okay. And then he or she is a picky eater. They can tolerate new food on their plate, doesn't have much issue touching or tasting new food, eats at least one food from every group. Maybe a little cauliflower, a little broccoli, a little chicken, a little rice, and stuff like that. Okay. So you have a picky eater if your child eats at least one food from most texture. Let's say some smoothie, some soups, some mushy stuff, some crunchy stuff, all mixed together. So if your child is eating more than one textured food, then you have a picky eater. Okay. And it will, sorry, and then might eat a family meal, but sometimes might want to eat separately. Okay. And the last one is will add new foods after 20 or 25 exposure. So it's not like very hard to handle with him. So the first thing that you need to do is differentiate whether your child is a picky eater or a problem feeder. Because if you have a problem feeder, then you need deeper support. Okay. You need to understand the core issues of your child and why your child is having, real meltdowns whenever you're trying to change his food, or he's just eating 3 or 4 food, which is, come on, you understand that very normally and very naturally, that only chicken nuggets or only junk food is not good for your child, because it does not have enough nutrition that your child needs. Okay. And then whether your child has autism or not, every child, every human being, when they're growing up, they need certain amounts of nutrition for the best performance of their brain, their organs, their body, and whatnot. Okay. So if your child is struggling to eat normally, naturally, healthy, then of course you need to work on it. You might go to the doctor and then ask, your child is not eating, and then your doctor, your pediatrician, who is maybe an autism expert, will say, just keep him alive, like mine did to me. Okay. So the fact that a lot of the parents, they are not uh, they are not highly educated in healthcare. What I mean is, like, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, you're not a scientist, you're not a pharmacist. Okay. So you might be an accountant, you might be artist, a stay-at-home mom, or a career woman who have not studied health science very deeply. So if you haven't studied health science very deeply, then and your doctor says certain stuff, then you will accept the doctor because you accept him as the authority, as the expert, right? Okay. So the thing is, go back to the basics. Go back to your school education. What did you learn in school? That a human body needs a lot of nutrition, a lot of vitamins and minerals to stay not just to stay alive, but to thrive. Okay, our kids deserve to be successful. They do not deserve to be just, like, let him survive. Or you as a mom, your life should not be just survive the day or survive being an autism parent. It should not be like that, okay? Which is one of my core message that I'm trying to get to the world, and teaching you guys and whoever is in our community. So the thing is, there are certain stuff that you need to first accept, that your child needs good nutrition, and then the next step is find out if you have a problem feeder or a picky eater. If it's a picky eater, then you can follow, typical picky eating nutritionist who says things like, cut up fun shapes or introduce one. I'll be talking about it a little later in today's training, actually. So they might tell you that, suck it up, and then keep reintroducing for 25 or 30 times, or cut up shapes, make stuff yummy to look or interesting, or it's okay to give sauces and condiments if you are trying to introduce new food. And then I found somebody on Instagram who was actually telling that it's okay to use Cheetos or to use cauliflower bites, which are packaged food, which are dead food, for our picky eaters. Okay, so there will be lots of experts in the field who will say stuff, but I ask you to do your own research first, because it's very simple. When you do a simple Google search and you go to an authority, for example, Medline or Healthline or Google Scholars, if you're not somebody who understands, documents or studies, research studies, it's totally normal to go to. There are lots of sites who talks about health issues in layman's terms. I mean, in terms that you can understand. Okay, so let's go back to the issue. So here are 5 ways that you are hampering the progress of your working through your picky eater or problem feeder. Okay, and these 5 are actually said or proposed by experts in our field. Okay, and some I do agree, and there are some parts I do not, and I'll tell you which ones I do not agree and which ones usually do not work. Because if all these pointers actually worked really well, then we would not be struggling the way we are struggling. Do you agree? Do you agree with me, Mom? Okay. So the first point is not serving new foods. So very often parents reveal that they do not even serve new food because they're so scared. Tell me one thing. Who's in control? Who's the mother? You are the mom. Okay. Why do you, I am going to say stuff that might not be landing very nicely on you, and the good girl in me wants to say sorry for that. But as I said, 2022 is a year that I will be breaking my own mold of the good girl and be the authentic leader that the world needs. Okay, so here's the truth. Whenever I am working with clients or students who are posing this issue about they have problem feeders, like super picky eaters, and they're like, my child does not eat anything, I cannot make him eat stuff. There are certain stages that I hold them very deeply and let them move through the stages. Okay, so one of that is understanding your resistance to it. Okay, understanding your struggle to it. So if you have a belief that your child has the power, your child does not eat blank, your child might not want to eat blank, and that's totally okay. I'm sorry, my daughter is kicking my laptop and stuff. Okay. Your child might not want to eat stuff. Your son might not want to eat stuff, but you are the one who's in control. Okay. You're the one who's in control. That's the first step to understanding and to start moving through. Because if you give your power to your child, if you give your power to outside authority, it will be very hard for you to move through the continuum, to move through these issues. Okay. So the first thing is not serving new food because you are super scared, super anxious, because you think like your child is in control. He's the one who's the leader and you are the follower, but it's not. Okay. Number two, ha ha ha. You are so much in control that you're pressurizing the kid. Okay. Sometimes pressure comes as, I have even read comments and threads in big Facebook groups that sometimes the mom uh, pushes or really struggles or holds the child up because they are taught in ABA therapy that you need to force the child to sit. Okay, like strap him if needed, like strap him to um, a like a chair, and then feed him if it needs to be fed. I had one client who had to strap her son in the chairs, okay, in the chair, because she was being told by her therapist that this is the way that she has to deal with. And guess what? It was really, really a battle that she was losing. Okay. And when she came to us within 3 weeks, she let us know that her son is eating on his own. Okay. So that is totally possible. So pressuring is another thing that's not really nice. And you should also not be offering bribes or rewards for the eating, for good habits. Because guess what? If you are giving him bribes or rewards, and rewards are usually sugary treats, you are actually teaching your child that good eating, which is essential, needs to be reiterated with something that is non-essential. Okay, so it makes the whole system of trying to build your child's food habits go really back, really low and down. Okay, all right. So the third thing is offering food constantly and ignoring meal times. So when you go to the main major meal, let's say breakfast, you give him healthy food and then he does not eat, and then you are so scared that, oh my God, since he did not eat, then he will fall sick, he will fall ill and whatnot. Let me give him a snack. And then after 1 hour, you give him another snack. And then it's meal time, lunchtime, and then your child is not hungry. Okay, and then you give him another snack and then another snack, or he keeps on coming asking for snack. Okay, it might not be you, but your child might be the one asking for snacks, constantly asking for snacks. So when you are not having really strict meal time, then what happens is, if you do not have strict meal times, your child is not getting the basic nutrition, the basic amount of protein, the basic amount of fats, and the basic amount of nutrients needed for him to survive the next 4 hours. Then what happens is he's definitely hungry, cranky, irritated, breaking things, angry, and whatnot. So to pacify him, you give him a snack. And usually, what are snacks? Snacks are typically sugary item, starchy item, or it can be sometimes fruits or veggies, or a smoothie if you already have a nice system set up for your child. But I have seen recently a lot of clients coming to us that their child has like 4 or 5 foods, or not even any fruit. Some of them comes to me saying that their child does not have any single fruit at all or veggies at all. Okay, so offering food constantly will keep him full for a shorter amount of time. But then what happens is, during meal time, when you are introducing the food, then that's the time that he will reject the food. Okay, so we have to be really mindful about that as well, and make sure that let's say if your child is waking up at 7, you give him breakfast by 8. Okay, if he does not eat breakfast by 8, then what you can do is, whatever how much he have eaten, keep it there, And then after 2 hours, when he comes to you asking for food, or maybe showing you with pointers that he needing food, then you can ask him to eat the same breakfast. Okay, so at least what you're doing is you're finishing up one stuff, and then you are teaching him that this is his breakfast and this is supposed to be finished as much as possible. It's not like you give him a plate full of stuff and then he needs to finish everything, otherwise blah blah blah. It's not like that. So you are slowly and gently teaching your child to accept that breakfast has to be this food, and he has to finish breakfast before he can move on to another meal. Okay, the fourth point that we overlook or do sometimes is we limit the variety by serving the same food over and over and over. So what happens here is, as I said, you are scared, and then you think your child is in control, and then your doctor or your therapist and whoever, they say that just give him the food that he wants, and then the whole mealtime experience is also scary for your child because you have to strap him in or force him to sit down and stuff like that. So what the mother tries to do in a normal situation is he or she, mother is a she, of course, I'm sorry. Okay, my brain is a little tad weird after corona. I'm not really blaming corona, but I was very sick. Okay, and I did talked with a doctor, and then he said that we are having symptoms that is running for at least a year sometimes, and then if you have been attacked or overcoming, recovering from COVID, then you might have memory issues as well. Okay, so there goes a neurodiverse with the corona subtopic. Okay, so if you are limiting food and you are giving him the same food because you are scared, okay, my son eats only full nachos or Doritos or whatever, and then I'm giving him the same thing. So what you're doing is you are also teaching him that whatever he wants or whatever he thinks is food, you are giving him. So definitely it is available for him. Okay, sometimes we need to teach our child that a certain food which we know is junk, they don't know, your son do not know that only chicken nugget is not healthy for him or bad for him and whatnot. So you have to be the one discerning and trying to bring in new food every time or most of the time throughout the day, so that he understands that it is another new type of food that he should try. Okay, and to reduce the anxiety that you feel if you bring food to the table with a very stressed, like, is he going to eat, is he going to eat, your energy system is electromagnetic in nature. Okay, and your energy causes your child to vibrate at the same frequency. So if you bring food to the table with scared energy, then your child will definitely understand that mommy is scared and I have the control. And then, or because you were scared, your child will try to feel calm by having meltdown or rejecting food and whatnot. Okay, so that's another thing that you need to make sure. I'll summarize and recap them just after I finish with the problems. Okay, so don't worry if you miss any point. Okay, because you also have this download to go with it. The fifth one we all do: tricking your child by hiding food in things. Okay, sometimes it's necessary to hide stuff, but what happens is if you are hiding it in a way that is visible pretty much, and then the texture, the taste is totally off beat, then your child definitely will know that. And what happens is your child feels rejected, your child feels like not safe. Okay, your child does not feel safe, and your child will be like, okay, what is mom bringing in today, what do I have to fight for? You get the point? Okay, so our point of view should not be to trick our child. Okay, our pointers need to be to find out the root causes of why our child is either a picky eater or a problem feeder, and then work through them. Because when you solve the root cause, trust me, the whole process becomes really effortless and easy. We are doing it every time, every single sessions, every single day. Okay. Sorry. So this is what a traditional nutritionist or dietitian or a traditional autism dietitian will say about. Okay. But the real reason of autism picky eating are four. Okay. It's not really how you are feeding him. It's not totally. I mean, the 5 pointers that I have said so far, they have effects. Okay. But those five things are not the mistakes or are not the deal breakers for your child's problem feeding journey. Okay. The deal breakers are number one, your child's imbalanced gut. Okay. Because when your child has imbalanced gut, the microflora does not just stay in the gut, it also rises up, and there are microflora in our mouth. You know that already, okay? Right. So your child has lots of bacteria and viruses in the mouth as well. So what happens is the microflora sorry, the microflora in the mouth causes distorted sensory input, okay? And the taste buds with which your child tastes food, whether it's sugar, it's salty and spicy and stuff like that, that taste bud does not function properly like a healthy child's does. Okay. So if you have a problem feeder, there is a reason for that. It's not because your child's personality is like that. It's not because your child was born to make your life hell. It's because your child's system has a lot of uh, errors that needs to be solved or sorted out. Okay, and it's very easy to do. Trust me, it's actually very easy to do. Okay, so stay with me. The second point is craving for sweet and starchy food. So what that does is the disbalanced gut microbes, they eat, their food is starchy food. Okay, so when you give starchy food to your child, and if you have seen my grain free live, milk free live trainings, I you already will understand why that is. And if you haven't, if you are new to this group, I'll highly recommend you to watch Grain Free and Milk Free and all the other trainings that I have done and put in the guides section. Okay. So if you have seen the Grain Free, you already know what the problem with grains are. Okay. So if your child is craving chips that's made of potato is not a grain, but it's a highly starchy vegetable. Okay. So highly starchy vegetable or grains, what it does is it is the food of the bad bacteria as well as the good bacteria. But your child's body already has more bad bacteria and other stuff. You know, there is Lyme disease, there is uh, not just bacteria, there can be fungus, Candida albicans, and there can be other stuff. But for easy understanding, okay, for easy understanding, your child's craving towards sweet or starchy or crunchy food is because of the imbalanced gut. Okay. And then number three is the state of the mouth itself. If your child's taste bud is not, yeah, some, okay. So red, what do you mean by VOR red? You don't have your name. Somebody commented red. Maybe he or she tried to mean red colored food. Okay. All right. So the state of the mouth itself can be inflamed. Your child might have white, I would say like layers in the tongue. Okay. When your child wakes up in the morning, just have a peek inside. What do you see? Do you see white layers on the tongue? That is 100% a surety that your child is fighting fungus, and also there is a lot of toxins in his blood and body. Okay. Does your child have like reddish inside, like inflamed inside mouth tissue? So what happens is if your child has inflammation in the mouth, he or she cannot taste food properly. Okay. And the bland foods, you know, the Doritos or the Cheetos or the chicken nuggets and stuff like that, or maybe banana or only potato, what happens is those have a certain texture, have a certain taste, which does not disrupt or feel jolting to your child's senses. Okay, if that makes sense. The fourth point is a lot of health foods actually have chemical compounds like phenols, which when binds with the bacteria in his tongue, have a sensation which is like jolting, or he might feel pinching sensation, or he might feel like the itching or biting, that kind of burning sensation. So those kind of sensations are not happy sensations, which is why he rejects the healthy food. Okay, so summarizing the four real problems for which the main reasons for which our children are picky eater or problem feeders are because of distorted sensory issues, and then the situation of the gut, the craving towards certain type of food is coming because of the bacteria and the fungus asking for that food. Okay, making your child crave those food. Okay, it's a lot like addictive, how addicted people behave towards their addictions. Okay, and addiction not necessarily is just alcohol or drugs. Addiction can be sugar, because sugar is 50 times more addictive than heroin. Sugar is 50 times more addictive than heroin. Okay, let that sink in. All right, so what's the damn solution? What the heck is the solution for your problem feeder? Okay, the thing is, when I was working with my son, I tried to follow through the I tried to follow through the, those cutting up shapes, making things fun, putting a lot of ketchup and slaving in the kitchen for hours for him to, "Nah, I don't want that." And guess what? That's not a very nice place to be. And you certainly will understand if you are having that kind of a mother, because it's not a very empowering feeling as well. You feel like as a mother you are not good enough, you are failing, you are not being able to do your job properly. So your child rejecting whatever you cooked feels like a rejection of your motherhood. Feels like your child is not rejecting the food, but your child is rejecting you. Okay, so which is why a lot of mom, this is one of a parenting block. Okay, which is or belief, which is why a lot of mom keeps giving the child whatever the child wants, because she does not like this, her her we have this beautiful word in Bengali, kolija tukra, apples of your eyes for English, or something close by. So if you have only one autism child and you have other neurotypical kids, I bet your spectrum child is the one you feel most love and empathy and feelings towards, right? Okay. So when your child rejects food, you feel like a rejection of yourself, of your own motherhood, and it's not really a nice feeling to have. And so a lot of the time moms keep giving the same food. That's one of the problems that we do, one of the mistakes, or maybe keeps trying to keep the status quo balanced, because your child, if you do not give him a certain food that he likes, he breaks things, he throws tantrums, he keeps crying, and then it's a mess. It's a total mess. Okay, and I feel you, I totally understand you, because I've been there and I overcame that. Another thing is that I am not totally saying that I was able to do it, you should too. It's not like blaming you. And at the same time, there are a lot of people who are saying that a protocol or a system working for your child will not work for my child. And certainly am working my best, so let me just do it my way. That these two types of thoughts are actually not helpful for either of you. Okay, because for human beings, the basic foundational needs are all same, whether they are neurotypical or neurodiverse. The nutrients, the vitamins and minerals that your neurotypical kid needs, the same vitamins and minerals, if not more, is needed by your neurodiverse child. Your neurodiverse child actually needs more nutrition than your neurotypical child the same age, because your neurodiverse kid has a lot of lackings in nutrition. Okay, so you know the need, you understand the need. So how can you do that? Let's give you some solutions. Okay, I hope you have your pens and papers ready. Okay, the first thing that you have to do is clean up the diet. Okay, go grain free, go milk free, follow something that is healing, gut healing. And if you are in the group or you are following me in Instagram, I would suggest you follow me in Instagram as well if you haven't already, because over there I share a lot of food examples every day, because it's easier to do stories in Instagram than coming to the group and making a long post and whatnot. Okay, so clean up the diet, go grain free and milk free. Give your child a diet free of preservatives, free of sugars, free of all those things. Okay, that's step number one. Clean up the diet. Number two is detoxification. Number three is overcoming the parental block. So there are there's three things that you need to overcome problem feeding. The first one is diet. Okay, the first one is gut healing and brain healing diet. The second one is detoxification. And the third one is overcoming your own fears and emotional and parental blocks. Okay, so how can you do that? As I mentioned already, how to clean up the diet. I have made previous trainings on how to go grain free and how to go milk free, as well as how to introduce probiotics, make your own probiotics, how to do massage and things like that. You will find all of them in the guide section, or use hashtag the autism diet for that. Okay, the next point is, if your child sees chocolates, chips, colas and stuff like that in house, he will ask for it. So stop buying them. Just have that courage and stop buying those food. Do not have them in your home, in your cupboard, anywhere lying around or hidden, because they are the biggest detectives in the world. They will find out. They are all a Hercule Poirot, if I, or Agatha Christie. Okay, so they are very, very careful. They are very, very smart. They will find out if you have it. So stop buying those food or hiding them, and make sure that you are not giving sugars directly. Try to use alternatives initially, and then slowly reduce the sweet fruits and vegetables as well, because sweet is sugary, which is glucose, which is the food of the bacteria. So we are trying to kill off the bad bacteria. That way we will have good bacteria growing up. Okay, and remember, home cooked meal is 1,000 times better than convenience food. Okay, the next point is detoxification. Many people try biomedical therapies. I'm not saying they are totally bad, but some biomedical therapies are actually doing harm to your child, because biomedical therapies use chemical. Okay, chemical to which is called chelation therapy, to reduce the toxin, to remove the toxin. Okay, and then some people use name check protocol and stuff like that. So what that does is, that protocol actually has supplements, only supplements, and maybe olive oil. Okay, and there is no diet change. The thing is, the first foundational thing that you need to do absolutely is change the diet, and then your child needs detoxification in a natural, safe, and effective way. So in our program, Abo, don't do that. So in our program, sorry. So in our program, what we do is, we have two product that we use. One is an Ayurvedic tonic, which is very safe, which is totally 100% natural. Okay. What it does, it purifies the blood, it purifies the gut, and it helps in constipation as well. The second thing that your child will really benefit is to give all the support that your child needs to overcome constipation. Okay, your child needs to poop very regularly. Even if your child is pooping regularly, what happens is your child is not letting go of all the undigested or feces or stools out of the system. Okay, so the large intestine needs to be cleaned regularly. Okay, so that toxin is not built up regularly as well. Okay, so the second thing, oh yeah, that's the two things that your child basically need. At home, you can try celery juice, aloe vera juice, psyllium husk, or bitter gourd if you are very courageous. Or you can join us and make it easy for you. It's just two-step process, okay? The third one, overcoming parental blocks. As I said, if you are being fearful, if you are scared and anxious whether you can change the diet or not, you need to understand why you are feeling the way that you are feeling, because as I said, your child will actually learn what the environment is teaching him. Okay, so when my son, excuse me, so when my son was born, I made a pact to myself and I told my husband that, listen, I know the the grandparents, the people around, the uncles and the aunts, they would like to treat the child, give treats, and sometimes we will go out and have outside food, but that needs to be very strictly handled because the initial few years of the child is very important. That's when your child learns the outside world. So if your child is, it's not blaming or shaming, I'm doing it from the softest corner of my heart. It's just a question. It's just a simple question, okay? So if you say that your child is addicted to pizza, if you are an Italian, then it's fine. If you are not, then pizza is not your main food or pasta is not your main food, okay? Yeah, I mean, for Americans, pizza and pasta has now become a way of life, but we are forgetting the vegetables and other stuff like that, okay? So the junk food, let's pose the question in this way. The junk food, where did your child learn that junk food exists in the world? He did not see it when he was inside of you. So when he's outside, when he's born and you were raising him, maybe you did not, but then if you are South Asian, then you will understand the point more clearly. Then you will have grandparents or uncles and aunts trying to treat your child, giving a chocolate here and a chips there and a cola there, and then guess what, your child is now addicted to those food because those food taste better to him. On the contrary, when you try to give him even rice or vegetables, your child rejects the food because those foods does not have the same addictive taste that the junk food has. Okay, so the thing is, your parenting is 33% of the whole game that we are in. Picky eating, if you want to conquer picky eating, 33% is diet, 33% is detoxification, and 34% is overcoming parental blocks. Okay, so how can you do that? If you are in our group, then you already know I made a another training, which is #clarificator. Okay, so you can use that training to do this deep diving. Okay, and in our program, what I do is I have a system and a set of questions that I ask, which varies from person to person. It's not the same question I'm asking everybody because I have how to say, like, intuition, and I can read the energy and stuff. So when a mother poses a problem to me, I give individualized support for that. The case based problem, because obviously all families do not have the same dynamics, all families do not have the same problems or issues going through. Okay, so deeper questions are meant for you to connect yourself to the truth. Okay, so we had a student who was not being able to change the diet of her son because she felt like she has a need to be a cool mom. Okay, so being a cool mom, what does a cool mom do? A cool mom is somebody who is the kid's best friend. The kid loves the mom. Okay, and so what the mom does is subconsciously she will have she will prepare food, she will serve food, she will take care of the child in a way that makes the child feel or validates her need to have that cool mom status. Or you might be someone who has a very high standard, very high standard that have to look up to. Maybe you have mothers or mother-in-law keeps telling you that you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. I was a much better mom than you were, or I was a much better caregiver than you were. Or maybe they're saying that you are doing something wrong, that's why your child has autism. Otherwise, my children were such great, you know, Albert Einsteins and whatnot. I know you understand that. Okay. So the thing is, why is it important? Because our mind is split into two types. Okay. One is conscious mind or conscious brain, which has only 5% of the power. And then we have subconscious mind, which has 95% of the power. So if your subconscious mind is like a program for a laptop or a computer, a PC. So if you might have the latest MacBook or the latest Microsoft, whatever, I'm not a gadget person. You might have the latest gadget, but if the software is not working properly, seamlessly, then the best hardware will also not give you the result or the support. You understand that? Okay. So your subconscious has 95% of the strength, and the way we were raised, taught, the way we have acquired beliefs, if we have had traumas, then all those things will actually contribute towards how you parent your child. Okay. So your need to be of certain type dictates how your action would be. Okay. If you are scared of your child, then maybe you have a issue standing up for yourself. If you are putting on the struggle medal, I call this the struggle medal, which is like, oh no, my child is doing this and then my child is doing that and I cannot do stuff. And even though there is a solution, you are stuck, you are scared, you do not want to go there. Maybe you are uncomfortable because change is uncomfortable, it's scary. Okay. Or maybe you want the external validation that you are doing good enough, that you are actually doing something very much different than anybody else in your family did. Okay. So who are you trying to prove to? Are you trying to prove to the world of a certain type of mother that you are, or a certain type of wife that you are? Okay, that's a very important question that you should ask yourself. So why are you really scared? I have a few questions for you. I would really like, and it will really benefit you. After this live, if it's nighttime at your home, or maybe if it's come back later on, and then do some journaling session. So the first question I have for you, which will help you connect to your truth, is what are you really scared of? What are you really scared of? Or why are you really scared? Number two, do you have a certain standard to attain? Do you have to be the best mom in the world? Do you have to be the best spouse in the world? Do you have to be that person who does 10 things perfectly? Are you a perfectionist? Okay. Number three, why do you give your kid's situation more control than it already has? Why do you give your kid's situation more control than it already has? What do you need to overcome those? Okay. The last question that I have for you is, do you have permission to not struggle? Do you have permission to not struggle? Because heck, we are taught that life is hard. Nothing important comes easy in life. We are taught that motherhood is tough, that we have to suck it up, we have to be martyr, we should not voice our problems because mothers always hide problems. So, do you believe those? And do you have permission to not struggle, to not feel guilty? Do you believe you are worthy? Do you believe you are worthy to have a life that does not have struggles in it? Because if you do not have permission, if your subconscious do not give you permission, then even if with your conscious brain, which is like 5%, and you are finding the whole internet looking for results, the result can be sitting in front of you, the way that I'm saying. There is a solution to you, and you will not take the solution because your subconscious mind is not allowing you to accept that unless you give her what she needs. Okay, so these are some of the important issues that is probably holding you back. Trust me, this is a very important step missed by everyone in the world. Every experts, every I would say as many people that I have come across in Instagram or Facebook, or experts that are helping with autism, picky eating, or problem feeding and whatnot. The 33% that's missing is the parental blocks. The other 33% that your child needs is detoxification, which very few actually talks about except for the biomedical people. And then the other 33% is the diet, which everybody focuses on. Everybody is fighting, scrambling, doing stuff to change the diet. But the diet change can be easy when you do the little detox. Okay, because when you do the detox, the diet change becomes easier because your child's pickiness will go down, your child's sensory issues will go down. Okay, that's how the diet change will be easier. And you can also go through all of that when you feel strong. You feel like you have the power, you feel like you have the authority. Okay, you have the authority, you have the power, and you have the permission to go through that journey. Okay, and you know what, this does not have to be really struggling. If you have a problem feeder, then you really need strong solution. Okay, and it's not ableist to want your child it's not ableist to want your child to have a better health. If your child had diabetes, you will give him certain foods, right, and avoid those food, avoid other foods, right? So what's wrong with autism child? What's wrong with that? If your child is recovering from a surgery, you know that your child needs to build up blood and you will give him special diet. So what's wrong with trying a special diet with an autism child? I don't understand why it's so hard for the medical system to accept, or the advocates to accept that change needs in this way. Change needs to become. Okay, my son is here with me. Okay, so I would like to say that if you are struggling with a problem feeder and you are somebody who knows deep down in your heart that your child needs help, that you need help, and you and your child both deserve to have a healthier life, then book a call with us. Call with me, DM me if you need to know. Otherwise, you can go to the announcement section. I have my program details over there. You can also visit www.neurodiversenerd.com/program, and then you will have the details over there. This does not have to be hard. If you have a picky eater, you can do it easily. But if you have a problem feeder, then it's actually very hard. Okay, the only thing that's stopping between you and the success that you see, sometimes I post testimonials and I post share wins, client wins, and things like that. The difference between you, wherever you are, and where you want to go, is just giving yourself permission to not struggle anymore. Okay, and you and your child both deserves freedom, both deserves health, both deserves well-being. Your child deserves to not cry all the time. You deserve to not need to take care of a child who cries, who does not sleep, who does not eat, who does not have social experience, have social anxiety, who's for whom you cannot go to parties, for whom you cannot have social gatherings, for whom you have to run to 10 different therapies and the therapies are not helping either of you, then you know where to come. Okay, let me know if you have questions about more about Pickyeating or our program. I'll leave all the links in the description after this. Thank you so much. Download the handbook and then come watch this again. It was very lovely to have you guys here. I'll see you soon. Bye.